Hi, everybody. Good Sunday morning. I have missed doing this on Sunday mornings. Everybody knows we've been on a cruise, busy, and then I've been sick. And yeah, I am doing better. I still have a lot of the sinus croup. I haven't had a fever in about 2 days, so I think I'm past the hard part of it. And now it's just dealing with the sinus stuff and everything else. It'll just take time. I have noticed I've been short of breath doing the stairs some, but part of that is the stuff is kind of draining down into my lungs, and it's just going to be dealing with it and getting back to walking because I have missed walking the dogs. It was so funny all along the cruise. I told Scott, I'm like, I miss that repetitive repetition, that having that schedule that we did, that the dogs always got their walks in the morning, in the evening, and things like that. So, anywho, all right, let's jump into this. Lynette started off with a question. What strategies, good morning, Emma, what strategies do you recommend for reducing dairy addiction, cold turkey or gradual? If you're a binge eater, I always suggest not doing cold turkey, because if it is like that thing that you're holding on to, it could send you into a downward spiral because you're just completely giving it up. Try either using it like a condiment where you use it sparingly over a week or two and then taper it down, or say, okay, I'm not going to do any like heavy cream, but I'll do some hard cheeses. And then the next week, I'll only do like every other day or things like that. That'll help a lot. A lot. Morning, Becca, Euro Worlds. All right, Euro Worlds. I do one meal a day and sometimes find it hard to get enough protein in the 6 hour window. So I actually, a few months back, switched to 2 meals a day. I found it much easier to, one, I didn't have to eat so much at one time, and two, I ended up eating more protein, but overall, like less calories, even though calories are not a great metric. But I find that 2 MAD, so 2 meals a day, works better for me. I don't know if that's something you consider. Um, I think it's good to switch things up and not stay in just kind of like a stagnant pattern of doing OMAD every day, all day, every single day. I think listening to your body and what you need. And if you're needing more protein, then maybe think about doing 2 meals a day to help that out. What do you eat when you're ill? Scott made me homemade chicken soup. So he makes bone broth out of the bones. It's complicated, isn't it? He makes homemade bone broth and then he just throws chicken in there. I think he did use a little bit of celery and carrots in it because it's just traditionally how we always have made it. But I think he added like 3. I don't really know why he put any in, but it's okay. It was good. Oops. So that's what I tend to eat. I also ate a ribeye yesterday. Couldn't taste it. It was very sad. It looked like it would have tasted delicious, but it was just chewing up meat. That is what I've been eating. All right. TK Tater. Question. I've been having a problem being hungry and then I only eat a little bit. I've lost 10 pounds in 5 weeks. 10 pounds is very good. I want you guys, I've had a ton of people email me, they're upset they haven't lost more in either 4 weeks, 8 week period. I lost like 27 pounds in the first month, but at least, and listen to this, at least 15 to 18 pounds of that was fluid, pure fluid, not fat loss. Granted, it still is good to get it off the body, but my legs were swollen. Like I had 2+ pitting edema, and that's when you take your thumb and you press it quite hard for a good 5 or 6 seconds on the front of your shin. And then when you move your thumb, it's still dipped, and how far it dips and how long it stays tells you how bad the pitting edema is. I had a lot of fluid. So first, 10 pounds in 5 weeks is good. Okay. I want to say that. I have a problem ever being hungry. Do you mean never being hungry? Go tell me a little bit more about that. But I have a male cousin who's over 500 pounds. I've tried sharing carnivore with him. He's just not even open to the idea. He's only 46. People have to make the choice themselves. Sharing, I mean, that's a good thing. If he asks you to stop, then that's, I think, thank you, honey. My morning coffee, because normally this is the time I have my coffee. People have to be willing to make the choice themselves. There's that quote from a book, I don't remember, but we all guard our gate to change, and it's locked from the inside, and only we can unlock it. No amount of begging, pleading, or anything like that can change it. We have to decide, something, and I hope it doesn't get so bad that it's something super dramatic, but, he's got to decide himself. Scott never got sick. No, the rat. He did not get sick. No, I'm kidding. I'm glad he didn't. So, Mama, were you vaccinated? I was not. All right. Jen! Oh, hi, Jen. I hope you did not get sick because I was talking to you the day before on the cruise. Oh, I'm so glad to see you here. Just started OMAD to help with my food addiction and thought I was doing great. Then I saw Cy West's video basically saying 24-hour fasts are useless. Frustrating. I was doing OMAD for a while, and it's not because I was trying to extend the fasting window. I just found that I slowly wanted less and less. But then I noticed it also started to slow my weight down, because what was happening is by the time that one meal rolled around, I was really, really hungry. And normally I eat 3/4 of a ribeye, like, 3/4 of a pound, and I'm done. And that would be all I'd eat for the day and be fine. But when I was doing OMAD, I noticed that I just was eating like a ribeye and a half sometimes. Now doing TUMAD, I end up eating less. I still get as much protein as I need, but I eat less. And I don't have, I don't know, it works perfectly for me doing TUMAD, because I know there's this big, like, get a bigger fasting window, get a bigger fasting window. And honestly, I think it really varies for each of our bodies. I do think too, a big thing with that is we have to kind of change things up a little bit. Lisa, yes, 2 meals works for me. Yeah, it works so much better for me, I think. But hey, there are people who do fine with OMAD, and if you do fine with OMAD, kudos. Everybody's different. Tabitha, I'm on day 35 of ketovore and I'm down 16 pounds. Congratulations. That is wonderful. All right. Dennis. Oh, I keep clicking the wrong one. Sorry, Dennis. Hi, Dennis. AK, how is your sleep on carnivore? Oh, man, it's gotten immensely better. When I pre-carnivore, I slept like crap. I would sleep an hour or two, wake up, toss, turn. I had I wouldn't necessarily call it insomnia, but I mean, along those lines, that I'd lay down and just stare at the ceiling for hours sometimes, and then I'd fall asleep. Part of my sleep issue was Scott snored like a 800-pound man before we started carnivore, and so I'd literally listen to him suck the paint off the walls and stab him a few times to turn over. That didn't help. He no longer snores, so I sleep much better. But I fall asleep much faster. I do use sometimes, like when I'm having a lot of having a lot of stress, I do use these guys. It's just melatonin with, I don't know, it's melatonin. It's melatonin. Okay. I got it at Costco. I just take 1 or 2 of these the nights that I'm having just like a hard time, which isn't too frequently anymore, but it's usually stress. Right now, sleeping on carnivore, my bed articulates up. I have to sleep sitting up right now because, I cough all night. All right, here, Tater. Okay, I just don't get hungry. Never been a big eater. Doctor always told me to eat little bits at a time, but since I started, I have no hunger. You know, as long as, how do I say this? Go by how you feel. My suggestion is if you're really concerned about it, start moving around more. That will stimulate you to want to eat more. I'm not suggesting going jogging or, because I don't know how much if you're trying to lose weight, or because you guys should all know by this point in time, if you are morbidly obese, jogging, I do not advocate any of that stuff. Our joints are not made to bear that much weight. Anyways, just walking more, doing more activities in the house, those kinds of things, do that, and it will stimulate your appetite more. As far as being concerned about it, unless this goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we're talking like you're eating this much a day constantly, wouldn't stress about it. Just eat until you're satiated and then move on. And if you're truly, truly concerned, journal your food for a week and then go back and, calculate out how much protein you're getting, because you might be getting just enough to be okay. Hi, Tina. Prepared 2020. Did you shed any hair when you started? My hair was falling out by the droves before carnivore. I will tell you though, when I tried in the beginning implementing more fasting, and I'm not really talking intermittent fasting, I'm talking about days of fasting. Oh my God, my hair, it fell out twice as fast. My hair is finally I got all these little guys sticking up. My hair is finally starting to grow back. It is normal with massive loss change, quick dietary change, fasting, and those kinds of things for hair loss to happen, hair shedding, however you want to word it, because they are huge stressors on the body. And our hair is one of the least important things. So if it's stressing, what it'll do is it'll remove nutrients going to the hair and give it to the organs that need it. So then it falls out because it's not getting what it needs. Check what you're doing. If you're doing a lot of fasting will absolutely make your hair fall out. It's a huge stressor, especially females. Huge stressor. All right, Sabrina, do you not worry about your heart cholesterol, plaque from all that saturated fat? I'm kind of scared to try it, but understand how it can drop your glucose fast. I am not. And here's the reason. 1, I see a cardiologist. 2, I get my blood work done every 3 to 4 months. Funny enough, I actually got my cardiology blood work done, but then, I got COVID and we had to reschedule. I was supposed to see the cardiologist Tuesday, but we had to reschedule, and it's a cardiologist. The soonest they had was the 29th of this month, so in 2 weeks, to go and have a conversation with him. I was thinking about asking if he'd be willing to let me record it. Maybe not his face. I don't know how he feels about that. But would you guys want to listen to our conversation? Let me know. Anyways, so here's the thing about saturated fat. It's actually not bad for your heart. What's bad for your heart is saturated fat plus carbs plus seed oils. The combination is very bad for us. Saturated fats are not bad for us. And my dogs are being bad. They're not bad for us in any way, shape, or form unless you're combining them with other things. LDL, the standard, when you go and you get your cholesterol checked, it is a calculated test. It does not actually check your LDL. What it checks is the LDL-C, so your LDL cholesterol. It counts how many, this is my example for it, it counts how many passengers are in a taxi. Well, when we're talking about the cardiovascular system, doesn't matter how many are in the taxi or how many taxis are on the road. Well, if you're talking about, a road like our blood system, it matters how many taxis are on the road. If you're truly concerned and you want to do this, I suggest going to your doctor and asking for a advanced cardiac IQR. The R matters, okay? That tells you your particle sizes and it counts your particles. That is what matters. Okay. I can just tell you guys, my LDL particles, They were high when I started this. That's when I got it done. They've actually come down, which is a good thing. Like all of my stuff has come down, which is a good thing. So despite almost being a year on carnivore, though my LDL cholesterol shows, like the standard LDL cholesterol shows it's going up, the amount of LDL particles are going down, which is good. You need to have some, but you don't want to have a large amount of them. We actually need LDL to live. Little does it not get vilified. Samantha, how was adjusting to carnivore? Did you get low blood sugar symptoms? If you want to, like, I'll talk about it now, but if you want more specifics, go to the how to start carnivore and what to expect. And those are the older videos. I need to redo them, update them. But I did those around 5 or 6 months. Adjusting, my God, I had terrible diarrhea. That's like the number one thing. I couldn't leave the house. It was so bad for weeks. Low blood sugar, no, but I checked it regularly. I mean, it dipped some, but not to the point where I needed to have any kind of like exogenous glucose. I did have dip sweat, made me feel bad. I was not an insulin-based diabetic. I was taking an oral medication, so metformin. So it's not as dangerous. If you are an insulin-based diabetic, you better be checking that blood sugar constantly, okay? Like, even if you aren't insulin-based, I still suggest checking it frequently, because when you feel bad, 9 out of 10 times, your blood sugars are high or it's dipping lower than what you're normally used to for it. Deborah, how do you break a heavy cream addiction in decaf coffee? I'm week 4 and find my coffee very bitter with butter. I have to ask Deborah, are you using a frother, like a hand frother, to mix the butter in? If not, that helps. Because if you are just like trying to manually mix it in, the butter sits at the top and it doesn't mix very well and it is bitter. But if you use the frother, it'll mix it up. As far as heavy cream addiction, I don't want to dump it on the computer. I have some heavy cream in here. This is like I have 1 cup with heavy cream in there. You could just try doing a little bit less at a time, but try the frother with the butter. I think on my website, there's like that little Amazon link icon. I have on my Amazon thing, the one that I use. I love that thing because I can't have butter coffee unless I have a frother to actually emulsify it together. Oh, okay, good, Jen. You didn't get sick, thankfully. I had gastric sleeve, so OMAD is difficult, but want to try as a bridge. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I tried the up to 72 hour. I did not quite do very well being a binge eater myself. It's difficult trying to completely eliminate food and then your brain not obsessing about it, because that's what fasting does for me. How come you figured out food is mostly poison but haven't figured out vaccines are poison? I'm not really sure what you're talking about. Bloody shrapnel. All right, Kate. I haven't started my journey yet. I tried deciding if I should ease into it, just go full hardcore. Any advice? You have to decide what's going to work for you. Like, your personality better than I do. Here's the thing. I jumped in both feet, but that is, I'm a type A personality and I don't do well with easing into it. So you have to base it off on your personality. If you can tolerate it, I think easing is a more pleasant way of doing it, because I went from, standard American to carnivore, and it's a shock. It's a shock to the system, like physically, like the diarrhea was no joke. Like, I'm not kidding you. I hate to keep talking about that, but I want people to be well aware, like, it was legit bad. It goes away because it's just such a shock, and, the hair loss that comes with it. So if you can ease into it, I would suggest that. But if you have a personality like mine, easing doesn't work. Lynn, I had an ugly spell of eating. I'm back on carnivore. Yay. Congrats. Remember, failure is only if you ever just quit and don't ever get back up. don't want to go backwards when I'm super carbohydrate. Reason why I was doing kind of bored doing so well on it. I'm assuming bored with the eating. If that's the case, find a meal that is like your go-to meal. Mine is chicken wings. I only have it no more than once a week. Why? It's my treat meal, and I don't want to have it so frequently that becomes like my unspecial meal. Deborah, how do you balance your fat protein ratio? I can't afford high fat ribeye, LOL. Supplement with pork chicken to get more inexpensive fat and eat a lot of medium ground beef. I don't stress about it. I try to do at least 50-50. You know, ribeyes are 50-50, and I know you said you can afford high fat ribeyes. Tallow. If you have a butcher, go to your grocery store. If you have Whole Foods, ours gives us the beef fat free. Take the beef fat, render it down into tallow in things like ground beef. You just add a spoonful in when you're cooking it in the pan, or if you're making burgers before or after, and that will up your fat ratio really easily. And if you can get it for free, it's just the cost of time and energy and like whatever your stove uses, your oven, gas, electricity. So I think it's like for a big old jar, we only spend a couple bucks making it. So it's very cheap to make the tallow and add it. And that is how I would suggest if you're having a hard time, or butter. But honestly, the tallow ends up being cheaper than butter. Oh, here. Yeah. Chrissy said, add egg yolk to your coffee. I tried that, but again, I have this huge egg aversion, and this comes from childhood trauma around being fed disgusting scrambled eggs every day. But that's me. I have degenerative disc disease. Also, one of my vertebrae slipped out of place. Other than eating anti-inflammatory diet and stretching and epidural injection steroids, can you recommend anything else? Yeah. I have it's like, I'm thinking it's like L4, L5. I have a disc that slips out periodically. Do things, pool. And that's not always an option depending on where you live. But if you can get into a pool, holy cannoli, that would be the best thing you could do. Swimming, water aerobics, treading back and forth in the water. It will help because the hydrostatic pressure of the water, if you have any edema, it helps with that. It helps take the weight off the spine, which is excellent, especially if you have DDD. That is what I would suggest. Biking, seated bikes, sitting leg exercises. What are the Tom and the, oh God, there's these two PTs that run a YouTube channel. Like, they have really good information. I can't stand them. It's Tom and something. I'll have to look it up. The most famous physical therapist on the internet. Their stupid song stays in my head all the time. Anyways, they would have some really good ones, but literally bicycling, swimming. I would recommend swimming so much. Dennis, I do think now that humans are meant to eat meat and less carbs. It does. It does. And here's the thing. Some people with carbs themselves, and this is different for everybody, some people can have 50 carbs a day. Some can have 5 to be in ketosis. It varies. And I find that people like myself who have been or are obese and sick, we tend to be able to have very, 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 very little and be able to be in ketosis. All right, Sabrina, thank you for your information. Enjoy your channel. Been wanting to try low carb carnivore, but didn't know well. We'll give it a try. Yeah, and here's the thing. If you want to you guys, if you're starting carnivore, I strongly suggest getting blood work done. Because here's the thing. I suggest getting your fasting insulin. I don't care if you're diabetic or not. Fasting insulin, A1C, CBC, which is your complete blood count, metabolic panel, and the cardiac advanced cardiac IQR. our test. Those are the 5 I suggest getting done in the beginning. You may have to argue with your doctor about this one, but this, probably the cardiac one, is the most important. Let's say that your LDL particles are 10,000. It's like, I don't remember exactly the metrics with it, so this is just an arbitrary number. Let's say they're 10,000, and then you get them checked in 3 to 6 months, and they're 9,000. Well, if you didn't have the starting numbers and knowing they were 10,000, 9,000 would be like, oh my God, they're so high. This diet's killing me. Well, actually, they've come down. So that is why I like to use these. If you are someone that stresses about that, some people don't actually care. You know what? If you don't care, that's okay too. Okay. But I strongly suggest getting baseline numbers. That way, when people are like, "You're dying," it's like, well, actually, I got my fasting insulin back at 7. It was 13.8 when I started this. That is half. Okay. Well, right about half. That is half. Would anybody have believed doing carnivore? All these people that say I'm going to get diabetes doing carnivore, except I reversed it. You know what I mean? Get your baselines. Carla, would you share what a typical day looks like for eating? Maybe 3 days, actually. Thanks. I haven't in the past few weeks because I've been sick and on the cruise. But Carla, you can go back on my YouTube, and I have tons of 3 days and 5 days and things like that. And I will start doing that again. It's just things have been hectic with the low carb cruise and then being sick. Lynn, how do you deal with a headache? I usually drink some Element, so do electrolytes, because half the time if I'm starting to get a headache, it's because I haven't had enough water or haven't had enough salt, and those always help. And then if it is real bad, my headaches tend to be tension headaches lately, which is stress related. I will take some Aleve. Agree with me or not, but that's what I do and it works. Leah, can I ask what your macros are? Protein and fat. You get so many different answers. I don't measure mine. That's my answer. I aim for 50-50, and honestly, I just eat until I'm satiated and call it good. Here's my feeling about it. If you eat a meal and an hour or 2 later you're hungry, you didn't eat enough fat. That's my rule of thumb. Okay. Our bodies, no matter what you believe, but we've been here for thousands of years, we didn't have calculators and macros calculating our protein and nutrients, and we survived just fine. To me, it just stresses me out. If you thrive on that, that's okay. But to me, it's like, I don't, no, don't ask me to track things unnecessarily because it just stresses me out. Want to thank you for all the info. Thanks, Judy. I appreciate that. Yes, Lynn. If you have gas in the beginning, go to the bathroom. Please do it. Deborah, no, I'm not using a frother. Yes, do it. I looked at Bed Bath & Beyond doesn't exist where I'm at. They closed. Target had one, but it was really crappy. And I just found the one that I liked on Amazon. Do it. It'll make a huge difference. I promise. Because when someone first had me try butter coffee, I'm like, God, this is disgusting. Because it's like just a layer of butter on the top, and it would coat my lips, and it's just like me. And then all the bitterness underneath. But when you emulsify it forces the butter temporarily, because if you let it sit long enough, it'll de-emulsify. It forces it all together. It'll be much better. And I put vanilla extract in mine. Mama. Around 6 to 9 months on keto, went through an extended period of hair loss, very upsetting. Then it stopped. My diet hasn't changed. My hair is curly. It just, there's so much that goes on in our bodies. Going through, I was supposed to do it today, but honestly, you guys, I was feeling so bad yesterday. I didn't finish editing the video. There was a lot of good talk and conversation and content on a low carb lecture cruise during the lectures. And here's what to sum it all up as. We all have to figure out what works for us, and what works for one does not always work for the other. Like that's the summation of it. And it's being okay that we are truly all self-experimenting with what works. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's more information than that. But like if I could say an overarching thing, that would be my take on it. But that's okay, and that's a good thing. If someone tells you I have the answer to fix your life, I'd run from them with my hair on fire. Okay? Because it's all about figuring out what works. Oh, blender. Yeah, put heavy cream and butter in the blender and blend the coffee up. That keeps me full too. Yeah, you could just do the butter coffee in your blender. That would do the same thing for emulsifying it. Oh, sorry guys. Let's see. Well, when one carnivore with high fat, you can't. Yes, it's very true. Good morning, Tia. All right. Did anyone have a high sodium content on their lab work? I did not. My lab work's actually been honestly quite good. But there's a lot of things that can cause this. Dr. Barry and oh boy, I forgot his name. He was one of the speakers on the low carb cruise. Jen, if you're still here, maybe you remember. Feldman. He's a good one to go about like lab numbers and stuff. An excellent one, by the way. Wendy, I use my bullet to stir my coffee with heavy cream and butter. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I don't have a bullet thingy, but that would work just as well as a frother. I think I like the frother because it's in, run it underwater, done. I hate having to wash things. Thank you, Bob and Brad. Thank you. I said Tom. It was close-ish, right? Tom, Bob. What are your thoughts of cream cheese added in to your hamburger and steak? It is good. I used to make stuffed bell peppers, and it would be pork sausage with cream cheese mixed in and spices. And I love my stuffed bell peppers that way. I should do like an unstuffed bell pepper with no bell pepper. That probably would be a good meal. I hadn't even thought about that. Sorry, y'all, I'm trying to get through here. Angie called.
Yes, we have a medical emergency, so to speak. John passed out, hit his head on the, this morning. He's got a big gash. She can't get him down the stairs.
Oh.
He can barely move. I was thinking going down, but I'm thinking she should call 911. Have them help.
I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. He's passed out. She needs to call 911.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's up apparently now, but okay, I'll tell her.
How bad is it?
Since he has a big gash in his head and he's too weak to get down the stairs.
That or have Buck and Jesse.
Buck hasn't answered. Buck's probably up here at church. So either I drive down or call 911.
If he's
911.
If he can't get down the stairs, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna call back.
Because he could have a subherabic oh my god, I can't speak right now. He could have a hemorrhage in there if he's hit his head hard enough, even if it's not externally bleeding a lot.
Okay. Thanks. That's kind of what I figured, but
sorry, y'all. Just 1 second.
Sorry, up to her live.
That's okay, honey. Guys, if you have an emergency, this is my brother's wife. If you have an emergency, call 911. Like, here's the thing. It's a hot take. If 911 comes, like you call 911, people are always afraid that they're going to have to pay for it. It costs, okay, and this is in the US. I can only say this for yes. It costs nothing for them to come to your house. What costs is if you get in the ambulance and they take you to the hospital. But them coming, checking you out costs nothing. I've called 911 so many times for my patients, you would not even believe it, okay? If you ever have a medical emergency and you're just not sure what to do, call them. You can refuse to go unless you're passed out. Then they're going to take you. You can't say no. call 911. Okay. This is like way off subject here, but just FYI. Anyways, Scott's dealing with it. He'll be fine. I hope. If not, I'll pop off here and get going, but we're okay for now. Let's see. All right, farmer wife. I've been carnivore 5 weeks and then I got the sickness bug. Then I couldn't face meat. So went back to normal sad diet for 2 days, back to it tomorrow. Have you ever fallen off? Yes. I talk about this all the time. I am not perfect. Nobody is. So don't beat yourself up. But what I will tell you, you will experience, you're 5 weeks in the beginning, you will experience meat aversion. Not everybody does, but a lot of people do. I did. The thought of eating meat made me want to vomit. So what I did is I didn't eat. And I logically, okay, we're gonna go downstairs. Y'all gonna get a little bit of a family drama because it sounds like my brother is refusing to go call EMS. One second, guys. Who is it?
I'm talking to Angie. John's like, I'm not going.
Angie. I'm gonna set you guys down for now. Hey, call 911. It costs nothing for them to come and look at him. And you guys can refuse, but if he's hit his head and he passed out, they need to take a look at him.
Well, he passed out and hit his head. It's passed out first, then hit head. Very sorry.
Angie, just call.
Yeah.
Just call them.
Don't let your
and
husband.
It costs literally nothing to have them come out and look at him. Okay. Okay. Bye.
Thanks.
We'll go back upstairs.
No, I saw my ugly hair.
Oh yeah, because you didn't comb your hair. My family's just a hot mess. To all of those watching this replay. Oh, 1 second. He's gonna be fine. He's talking, but he does need to have his head checked out. All right, let me go back up to the questions. I got lost. Okay. If so, for how long, and was it easy to get back into things? Most of the time when I've fallen off, it's been a meal. Maybe once, maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe 2 meals, but usually 1 meal. And the reason is because it's like I have decided that carnivore is a lifestyle for me. And so it's just normal that to go back to it. And the one time that I had the extended, it was like my only binge that I've experienced while doing this, is when Rosie died, my soul dog. And that was for 11 days. And it was just, that was a hard time for me. Was it hard going back? No, because it was really like 8 days, but whatever. I was eating the bad stuff in that situation to feel better, and it didn't do a single dang thing to make me feel better for losing my soul dog, because y'all have never lost a dog in my entire life. Well, when I was a kid, I lost one of them, but I was young, and it wasn't like Rosie, who pretty much was like a big motivator for this journey for me of walking every day. Anyways, so find your why. And that's why I tell people, wanting to look thin and have the number on the scale go down is not a good enough why to keep us moving forward. Why? Because we always fall off. It's not good enough. Wanting to be there for your family, my why is I want to be able to live my life and have a positive impact on the world. That is my why. That's what keeps me moving forward. Find your why. Okay. Tammy C, can anyone recommend a good frother? It would be greatly appreciated. Tammy, if you go to the carnivorousme.com website, like scroll down a little bit, there's that little Amazon icon. I have the one that I use off Amazon. It's like 10 or 15 bucks. I think it depends on the color you buy. I love that one. That is the one that I use, and you can find it on Amazon. All right, Deborah, what do you supplement with? I take vitamin D because I live in the northern hemisphere because, we don't get enough sun. I take, sorry, my brain's not working. Element technically would be considered because it has magnesium, potassium, and sodium. I take a high quality multivitamin I get from Whole Foods because that was the agreement I had with my PCP, and I've taken one my entire life. So I see it as insurance, filling in any of the gaps I may be missing. That's it. Jen, do you have any new goals you're working towards? Yes. Well, old but new. The hike that we did, it's around hiking. The hike that I did with Rosie 2 days before she died, I have not done it since, and that has been my goal. But ever since she died, then things have been, I've struggled some. Just, even to this day, it's like I have pictures of her. Ignore my very dirty room. I have Rosie's the black one, my hand, right there. She's the black, oh, that's the brown one, whatever. Anyways, she's the black one there. I've got big pictures like that all over the house, and I miss her. And I can honestly say that part of me has not been with it. But after doing the low carb cruise, I'm like, yeah, brought that back. She would want that back for me. So going back and doing that hike. And now the goal is going to be getting my endurance back up because it's like an 8-mile hike round trip. And right now, I tried walking a mile yesterday and I made it, but I was short of breath from all this stuff. My insulin was 40.7. Is that in US metrics? Because that seems exorbitantly high. I'm assuming that's your fasting insulin. Your A1C, that means very, very insulin resistant. Oh, I'm not sure what this means. It means 6.6 diabetic. I forgot the diabetic threshold was 5.6, or is that pre-diabetic? Don't quote me on it. You can ask Dr. Google, but I can tell you the 60.7 means you are very insulin resistant. And what that means is when you eat glucose and your insulin binds to the sugars, the carbs and sugar turn into glucose in our body. Simple enough, okay? Insulin binds with that, and it pretty much is like if a kindergarten was a sugar cell and an adult was the insulin holding the kid's hand and they were taking them to their classrooms, and the classrooms are cells, you have to have insulin bound with a glucose to get into the classroom, okay? What happens is your cells are so overstuffed with glucose, when you try to take that kid to the room, they're like, no entry, we're already too full, okay? Your body is not wanting insulin or not wanting to pick up the glucose. Eat less carbs. Sad. That's, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing, Lynn. 170 over 105 is quite high, real high. 100 over 60, that's amazing. Emma, 24 days, 12 pounds, amazing. No longer snore, sleep 8 hours a night. That is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It probably feels really good too. Oh yeah, Jen, thank you for mentioning that. Kim and Dr. B's book, lab book, Common Sense Labs. Funny enough, you guys, I haven't really talked about this. For the low carb cruise, Scott and I sat at Dr. Berry with Dr. Berry, Nisha's mom, Andrea, and Kim. That was like our permanent table. So each night we sat at the table. Granted, Dr. B and Nisha with the kids and stuff, they kind of went off and did their things a few handful of the nights. But we got to talk to Kim almost every night, which was amazing. So yeah, you can find the Common Sense Labs. They are, I don't know if she said it's been done yet, but they are going to put it on Amazon. You should check and see. You should check and see if it's on Amazon. If not, she said it's going to be soon. Gabriella said the heat can make the blender explode. I would think that it is the expansion of the steam inside the thing, the cup thing to look out for. That would be frother. It's $15, and it's super easy. You just rinse it off and spin it and clean it. Okay. Scott has pretty hair. I'll tell him. Yes. Okay, I'll say this one more time, you guys, for those that are later. In the US, if you call 911 and they come to your house, it costs nothing. What costs is the ride from your house to the hospital. That is what they charge you for. Okay, not them coming to the house to check you out. So if you ever are concerned about something, call, and then you can refuse to go. They make you sign the thing. How would I know if flavored element causes an insulin response? It's going to slightly. Honestly, eating meat causes an insulin response. It's just a natural function of eating. It's going to be less because they use stevia in theirs, but because it does have a slightly sweet taste, you will have a bit more. It's fine. People do fine with stevia and stuff like that if it does not trigger you to want to eat more. And that is a personal experiment. I have in the beginning used their unflavored or the raw without any of it in it. And I found I actually do fine. I still probably use at least half of my intake is the raw, just because I'm so used to it. I do intermittently use the ones with stevia in it, and I have no problems with those. But it is a self-experiment. You could, if you're really curious, use a CGM, but to be honest, CGMs are really good for type 1 diabetics and people who need to take insulin and people who don't want to stab themselves and that are just a diabetic. For non-diabetics, it gives you numbers and metrics. If that's your thing, go for it, but it is honestly unnecessary, personally, opinion. See, Mama, I still grieve for my dog every day. Yeah, I do too. I miss her terribly. She snored like a freight train even though she wasn't overweight. Deborah, I can't afford Element, but Dr. Lisa has never taken any. You don't have to, if you're getting enough salt in, you're getting everything else there. I think Element works great specifically for those of us that struggle with it. And especially if you heavily, or I shouldn't say heavily, if you sweat a lot, I do. I absolutely do. Can't remember, did weigh daily. No, I do not advocate for weighing daily. Why? I keep saying it backwards. A gallon of water is like 8.4 pounds. A gallon. That is a very easily to consume a gallon of water because, a big portion even of like a ribeye is like 60 or 40%, something like that, water in the meat. It is very easy to eat that or drink or eat it. So do not weigh daily. I advocate once a week. Honestly, once a month is better. Amanda, is it okay to add some tomato paste to ground beef? I figure it's not enough sugar to trigger cravings. Personally, you do you. Okay. I would not do it. Tomato is a nightshade, and it technically is a fruit, not a vegetable. It is very inflammatory. Okay. But you might do fine with it. So you got to decide if you're going to do okay or not with it. I won't. I mean, but that's me. Okay. Lolo, I'm so proud of you. Thank you. I had uncontrolled eating yesterday. I don't know why. Hey, you know what, Lolo? Here's the thing, and this is what I suggest. For those of you that did not know this, this has been like, I've been hemming and hawing about it, but I do one-on-one coaching. If you guys are interested, you can find all this details and stuff on the website. But this is something that I suggest to every person that I coach. This is the wrong journal, but it's a journal. When you have a off meal, a binge, whatever, I don't care if you eat a square of chocolate and you feel bad about it. Go back and write down what was happening in your mind. 9 out of 10 times, it is an emotional trigger. Stress, boredom, anger, sadness, depression, something's going on. And I really can speak more towards binge eating because that's me, take or leave what I say. But anywho, when that happens, we always know why. Sometimes we try to hide it from ourselves. Write down what's going on. One for me that I struggle with daily is Ryu. Ryu was the other dog in the picture. She's 13 this year. She has a pinched nerve. If you guys have watched any of my stuff, she's the one with the pinched nerve in her neck. And so she has a lot of left leg pain. And it kills me seeing her in pain. I even had an MRI done of her back to see if there's anything we can do. We take her to the doggy chiropractor. I'm literally doing everything I can for her. This is TMI. But anyways, it stresses me out. So sometimes I'm like, I want like a dark chocolate square. And I sit down and I journal. Like, this is an example. I'm stressed because Ryu's hurting a lot today and I feel helpless and there's nothing I can do. Okay, then you do a reasonable response to that. Right underneath it, you can be as detailed as you want with how you're feeling. Okay, do a reasonable response. The reasonable response is there anything else I can do? Is there, should I go and do more research? Is there something else I can do? And if there isn't anything else I can do, what is eating that chocolate going to resolve for her? Nothing. Like, it helps me look at it from a logical perspective to say, okay, Amanda, you want to eat this because you're stressed, but it's not going to help. And writing it down brings it, how do I say this? We're very easily able to deceive and hide our things in our own mind. But when you write it down, it becomes black and white. And when it's black and white and it's written in words, we have to think through what we're feeling when you write it down. And I'm not a journaler, okay? You guys, I really actually hate writing. I hate writing. But that is what I suggest, okay? If you guys fall off, eat off, do something that you weren't intending, write it down and then write a reasonable response. Jordan Peterson actually gave me this piece of advice personally. So do it. It works. TJ Maxx often has fritters. I thought fritter was a food. Am I wrong? Oh, frothers. That's probably a good place to look too. All right, Kat. How do you handle holidays, birthdays, social situations with food? You eat before you go. And you don't just eat, you stuff yourself. This is the one time I would tell you is stuff yourself full of food. Why? Because then you are so hungry. There is literally nowhere to put food in you right before you go. Don't do it 3 hours. Like, literally eat and then go. Okay. You can take snacks with you if you feel like it's just going to be odd you not eating. Take meat sticks, cheese sticks, take I don't have anything, but take water or coffee or something you can sip on while you're there. Those are the ways to do it. And honestly, the other way to do it is, if that doesn't work for you, avoid it for a while. I hate to say that. Coach Constance, thank you. That's very sweet of you. Wonder if I should invest in a glucose ketone meter. As a fibromyalgic, I have carbohydrate intolerance, which goes with the disease. Carbs cause increase in all symptoms. I don't know if any of you are nerds, but you should recognize this song from The Hobbit. Here's my suggestion. The glucose ketone meters can be helpful. However, if you know, and you're not a diabetic, this is non-diabetic people, if you know eating carbs makes you feel bad, don't eat carbs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes too many numbers are unhelpful, and it actually causes more stress than anything. How many packs do you drink a day? I drink from 1 to a half. So half of 1 to 1 a day. It depends. If we've been out and hiking, I definitely drink 1. Some days, if I'm less active, I'll drink half of 1. Scale makes me depressed. It can. It does. And weighing yourself daily does not help. I promise you guys. CR, I hope you're feeling better. I have not had a fever for 2 days, so I'm feeling better. And that way I'm still this. Deborah, take a 4th teaspoon of cream of tartar and water, and it has potassium in it. And yes, I do sweat a lot. Yeah, you know, some people, heck, you can make your own electrolytes at home, y'all. Like, if you want, I'll tell you with the Element, 1, I like the flavors, but 2, it's a convenience thing. If you want to buy the salt, the potassium, and magnesium and mix it up yourself, you can do that. And that could be very cheap. Do you take vitamin C or other multivitamins? I take a high quality I don't have it up here. High quality multivitamin from Whole Foods that has vitamin C in it. I agreed with my PCP. I would continue to do that, and I'm going to be my word. I view it as it's just extra security blanket for me. Emily, where can I find more on one-on-one coaching? Just go to carnivorousme.com and then scroll down, and it has all of this stuff in there for that you can look into that. Katie, I know you're not an MD, but why do you think some women do really well high fat, adding butter? Can't figure it out if I need to add more fat to my diet. We're all different. If you want my true opinion, we're all different in what we need. And here's the thing. Even if you copied me, like literally copy pasted me next to myself, the person next to myself, depending on what she did that day versus what I did that same day, we're going to need different things. Let's say the copied version of Amanda went on an 8-mile hike versus me. I sat on the computer and worked all day. We're not going to need the same nutrients, even though we're the same exact copy of a person. Okay. It is very difficult to see other people I know be like, it's difficult to see other people and they're doing A, B, C, D, and it's working, and then you try it and it doesn't work. But here's the thing. You're not in their shoes. You don't have the same genetics, and you didn't do the same things that they did that day and every other day, right? It is about figuring out what you need. For me, my rule of thumb is after a meal, if you are still hungry an hour or 2 later, you didn't have enough fat, period. Okay. So that is how I, for myself, decide if I need to add more fat to my meals. Let's see. Yeah, Lisa, taking the meat snacks. And I don't know. Oh, it's still in my bag downstairs. The Redmond's Salt Crystal. Y'all, that helps immensely. It helps with cravings. I'm going to bring stuff up here next time and put it next to me. It helps with cravings. They're like yay-ish big, and I made little like salt rock cotton bags to put them in. And you suck on them a few times. It helps with cravings a lot. And it's that oral motor, right? The oral, so the mouth to hand, because we actually have motor neuron plans in the brain that help stimulate dopamine response. Anyways, that's too much. But sucking on it a few times, it feels like your brain's saying you're eating something because you get the mouth hand action. They work really great. Lula, yes, I knew it was Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. I love that. Misty Mountains. I love that song, you guys. It's such a sweet song. I love, I forgot what it is with the men when they're singing, a group of them, but they do it with, my brain's not working. Anyways, I love it. Sinus rinse. Oh my God, I can't stand sinus rinses. Thank you for the suggestion. But I have this thing about stuff going up my nose, and I honestly would I'd rather just suck it up. Oh my gosh, that is on a bucket list to go to New Zealand for the Lord of the Rings stuff. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Hi, Linda. I am feeling better. Thank you for wishing me to feel better. All right, y'all. Yes, I know this is a problem. My Canadian people and my UK people having a hard time getting some of these products out of the US and not paying $1 billion. On Amazon, check for the Himalayan salt rocks. Same thing, but you might be able to get it there and not worry about the Redmond's ones, but look for the Himalayan ones on Amazon. So you might be able to. All right, guys, it is 10 o'clock. I am going to go check on my brother and see if we need to go down and check on him. I appreciate all of you. I will keep you updated. My plan tomorrow is to have the video, like the cruise video that I've been making, out tomorrow. I will work on that later today. And yeah, I appreciate every one of you so much, and I will be back Sunday, 9 a.m. as well. I'm going to move all these to 9 a.m. I like doing them slightly earlier. And I will see you guys then. Bye.